on out, some of the first things they're going to come out and say is that the government's been lying about all these numbers that are coming out, which we all know, which we all acknowledge. You know, the Bureau, what is it, BLS, the Bureau of Lying Statisticians?
That's right, that's right.
Okay, you know, and the unemployment number is not whatever they're claiming. It's probably 2 to 3 times as high as that.
Sure.
And if you actually looked at it and were accurate about it in terms of people that can't find work, you'd be staggered, because you'd find that perhaps if you looked at the demographics, perhaps any male over 50, if he loses his job, that's it. He'll never find another one. So the numbers are being totally skewed, but the government's about to lop off chunks of themselves that will then open up this floodgate of whistleblowers, and we'll start hearing about this. And so again, we get back into the self-compounding duality issue.
Yep, and it's going to continue, and I think the more that we educate people, and these, you know, your reports have shown, and the more this information gets out, the better it is, so that people can really be prepared. And you know, I just think the knowledge is what's most important here.
Right. But we're running, as we say, we're racing time.
We are.
That's one of our issues, is the immediacy data is piling up.
Yes.
And,
as
you know,
is all the other things, right?
Yep.
Let's jump forward to the Space Goats
Sure.
farts. Still love your names that you have these things. It's just, what an imagination. Love it. So tell us what's going on with that in the last in this last series here.
Well, in part 6, again we get a link back to this whole coagulation, is what we called it, the coagulation or condensation or tightening of the federal government into a thick syrupy mass, and little bits and pieces of it being thrown away, and that's going to again cause people to want to be whistleblowers, and a huge chunk of these guys that are going to come out as whistleblowers are going to be of the technical class that were casually brushed off in this downsizing, and they don't have anywhere to go, and so on. It'll take a while after they've lost their job and burned through their unemployment before they start thrashing around and saying, maybe I'd better contact this tabloid and tell them for the last 15 years my job has been to airbrush photos for NASA, and boy, can I show you this stuff, and oh yeah, I managed to get a few negatives out, and this kind of thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that wave of whistleblowers is within our unknown and officially denied subset of data, which we labeled the Space Goat farts.
Right.
And it shows that we're going to get into a very serious level of increase of discussion on the contact meme, independent of any actual further manifestation of that. So just because the whistleblowers are going to come on out and start telling what they know is going to be a very interesting summer, fall, and winter as we have a sort of an internal review here mainly in the U.S., that is to say that area is dominated by NASA, as to what they really know.
Well, and you know, I think that it's starting on a somewhat of that's already starting. It's just not maybe some of the big boys yet.
Oh yeah, it'll take a while, yeah.
But I still think some of the lower echelon, if you will, I really hate using those terms, but you know, the lower echelon, I think some of those people, because those are going to be the first ones to go, they've already started coming out and presenting different ideas, and you know, there's a lot of people that's coming forward. And it's just, I think you're right in those reports. I think it's just going to get monumentally huge with the information.
It's just going to, according to our stuff here, it's just going to be a wave of it, such that by the time we reach March of 2010, anybody who is in denial about the contact between humans and, let's say, off-world intelligence or interdimensional whatever, will have to actively be in denial. I mean, they'll have to actively not want to hear it because it'll be everywhere.
Well,
again, that's kind of cool. It should be very interesting.
Well, and I'm not sorry about it. I'm not sorry about it. It's way past time.
Yeah.
It's way past time. All right, let's go into the next segment here, which is Terra blankets, floats, and
chimneys.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting stuff here.
Yeah, we have a tendency to find that archetypes end up with the same linguistics stretching across differing subjects. So, for instance, we have blankets in the sense of the surreal label from the weather. This whole undeniability is going to cause people to think the world's changing, and their whole point of view, their whole relationship with the universe is changing, and their perception will change. And to them, it'll be very much like the Alice in Wonderland kind of going down the rabbit hole and seeing all these strange things and not knowing how to put it all together. And that's going to descend across the whole planet in such a way that we decided, well, that it's going to be more or less a blanket effect. Not getting everybody, but a whole large number of, or let me just say that the larger mass of the unaware are going to experience some cognitive dissonance issues over summer that will lead them to probably end up using and really understanding what the word surreal means. Most of it appears that we'll get some big peak towards the dog days of summer, the mid-July through mid-August period. And that's going to be interesting there because it does appear that that'll be pretty much weather-related and will be related to jet stream. So is it going to be snow in the middle of summer in odd places? Maybe so, simply because the jet stream is going to be behaving really, really strange and will contribute to this whole undeniability. We don't really have much in the way of details saying that, it's going to be, a zebra-shaped hailstorm in New York in the middle of July. On the other hand, what we do get says that the people across the northern hemisphere will start understanding about the undeniability factor. And that really, the blanket approach goes on down to the chemtrails and the issues there. We had noted in previous reports that chemtrails would come out as a mainstream subject, and we see that, Obama's administration is actively talking about planetary-wide weather engineering.
Right.
Using many of the 402 patents that relate to chemtrails.
Right.
So, in fact, that's coming out. Another part of that we had spoken about goes back to whether or not they can continue to do it. Because, again, it's the whole money issue. It costs a lot of money to buy all that kerosene to fuel all those jets to pump out all those chemicals that you spent a lot of money buying. And the chemicals are not cheap. And it's going to get to the point where the powers that be at the Obama administration level, the political elite level, will actually have to start having a public discourse as to how much is the planet, that is to say the rest of us, willing to pay to